What's up, dirt nerds? I'm George, and it is ghost story time. Let's see how weird we're getting tonight. What's up, dirt nerds? I'm kind of a little hesitant to post this one, just because it's a little off the wall for me. It's something that happened when I was very young. It's about 9 years old, 10 years old, somewhere in there. And yeah, it's a ghost story that has a very weird ending. And I think I'm going to post a couple more up before Halloween of some of the other paranormal things that have happened since that day. I hope you enjoy. Dig into this one, folks. All right. So, here's my ghost story. I was approximately 9 years old at the time, maybe 10. So, about, 36 years ago. Just outside of Reno, in a little town. At that time, it was a little town called Sparks, Nevada. And of course, Nevada being the town that it is, Reno especially, and it's got history. There's a lot of craziness that happened in that place. It's the Wild West. I was notorious for taking off and going and roaming the hills and exploring, just seeing what I can find. I would crawl into caves and chase little quartz veins. At that time, I was little. I was just chasing quartz. It was a pretty rock. I didn't know that was also chasing the gold. So I went out to do one of my other favorite pastimes, which is fishing. There's a little pond near my town where I lived called Hugo's Pond. And my mom's friends used to go out there drinking all the time, partying, whatever, doing carousing, because it was out in the middle of nowhere. So I knew where this place was, and I knew it was a good pond. There was also frogs, big old bullfrogs, good for frogging. But I was there. I wanted to go out during the day, summer day, just doing my thing, being a kid. I wanted to go fishing. I knew this pond was there, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the rolling hills of grass and dry and nothing else. There's this little oasis. There's this little pond. I don't know if it's a runoff pond, a storm pond. I was 9, 36 years ago, in the middle of Sparks, out in the middle of nowhere. Cool. So I go out there. I'm walking. I hiked everywhere. Up until I was essentially 21 years old, I either walked, hiked, biked, roller skated, skateboarded, bummed rides, hitchhiked. I got around however I could by my own means, without a license and without a car. So, yeah, I did a lot of hiking. I did a lot of walking, especially starting all the way down to as a kid. So I'm hiking up this road, and it's a dirt road. Mind my fingers. It goes up, and then there's a turn, and it turns to the right. To my right as I'm walking up the road, goes up, turns to the right, and then comes right back the same direction that I'm hiking. I know the road, the stretch that I'm on. There's an old barbed wire fence, and there's some trees, some rocks. So the road comes up, doubles back, and then comes right back the same direction, just about 40, 50 feet over, if that. Probably not even that. I was little, so it could even be only like 20 feet but it was a very small gap between. I could see the other road on the other side. Pardon me, excuse me. So I'm hiking up this road, and I smell something funky, and it. I now know the smell as death, as something has died. It's decay. It's the smell of rotting meat and rotting flesh. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible smell. So I was like, okay, well, I quickly move along. I thought, I'm thinking, I don't know, I don't care. I'm a little kid. I don't want to know what the hell that smell is. So I move on, and I'm moving up the road, and I see a car in front of me. So it looks kind of like a late 70s, kind of like Ford Torino, kind of thing, like an Oldsmobile. Is just a big two-door, big body, great big body car. And I see it coming, going up the road ahead of me, heading up, towards the turn, like they're heading out towards the pond. And I was like, okay, cool. Somebody else is going to be up there partying, drinking, whatever. I'm going to go plink around, try to catch some fish, whatever, see what's in there. As I keep walking up the road, expecting to see the car coming back at me the other direction, because there is nowhere else to go. You're just parking right there, or you're heading off into nothingness, into grass, into knee-high fields of dry brush and grass. I get to the end of the road. That car still hadn't passed back by me. There's no tracks in the grass. The car just disappeared. I have no clue. It's gone. I looked all around. I was like, well, where did they go? This was like a regular sedan kind of car. Like, I didn't think you could go four-wheeling off into the brush because I go hiking out there. I know what's out there. You ain't going out there with no sedan kind of car. No Torino is going to make it out there very far without getting stuck. Even if it was an Oldsmobile or anything like it was just a two-door style car. And yeah, sorry. Halloween story. And so I'm kind of confused. Again, I'm young. I'm out there hiking around the hills, and this car just disappears. Gone. And I didn't really think anything more of it, because I was a kid. I didn't care. I wanted to get out and go fishing. I wanted to, try to catch some frogs, go play around at the pond, go have some fun. It was summertime. I do my fun. And there was nothing. I get to the pond, and it was eerie, dead silence. There's no frogs, no fish. And there's usually like some bluegills, small little fishes and whatnot. There was nothing. Nothing was biting. Nothing was doing anything. I brought all kinds of baits. I did all kinds. Nothing. I go, okay, well, maybe it's just too hot. I got there too late. The fish are all chilling at the bottom of the pond. They ain't gonna move. The frogs are wallowing in mud or something. I don't know. Or pigs, frogs, whatever. Frogs get in the mud too. So I start my head back out, figuring, well, day's done. Ain't nothing here for the day. I'm gonna go home. And I come back across that smell. As I hike back up the road, and as I'm hiking back, I'm looking for the car tracks. I never see the car tracks. I come back around, and I hit that smell again. So I was like, I gotta find where this smell is. This is just a terrible, something is bad. I need to find what the smell is. And I come across about good 20 yards out into the sagebrush and scrub off the side of the road. There was a black garbage bag. And, because then I was almost positive that's where the smell was from. It was very strong. And I grab the edge and I move it. And there was a hole chewed through, gnawed through the side, probably from a wild animal. Coyotes, God knows what's out there in the hills of Nevada out, 30 plus years ago. And the first thing that pops out was a chunk of hair, bone, and meat. And I freaked out. I lost my stuff. I was a little kid, and my mom had always warned me about what happens out in that area, gamblers, drug addicts. Things happen in a gambling city. People disappear out into the desert. Into the desert. Speech impediment. People disappear out there in them hills. And that was, oh my God, I just came across a bag full of body. And I ran home. We're talking, to me at that point, it seemed like 20, 30 miles. It's probably only about like maybe 5 or 10. But I ran from that point all the way home. And immediately, I think I threw up. I caught my breath. I threw up again. And then I called my mom and told her what I had found. And if you want to look it up, you could probably look it up. And, it'll be in the Washoe County Sheriff's Department court records or county records, whatever, police records. They went up. They received a call. The Sheriff's Department came, picked me up, took me out to where I found said bag. And I was cringing. I was freaking out, like scared. I didn't want to go up there because by that point it was now dark. Well, we found it by the smell. And the officers went over, inspected the bag, and it was poached coyote parts. Somebody had been just killing coyotes and bagging them up and throwing them off in the woods. To them at that time, was not illegal. It was not a big deal. But one of the other search parties, because they had a few officers out there searching around, found a shallow grave of a missing child that had been abducted somewhere in the early 80s, late 70s, I can't remember exactly, but the child had been abducted, raped, murdered, and dumped out there in the desert, right there near where I had found that. The description of the vehicle that abducted the child was a late model 70s Ford type vehicle. I saw an image of said vehicle. I found the car tracks. Well, I didn't see any car tracks. I saw the car. And within a very small perimeter of where I found that bag of body parts, or dog parts, there was a shallow grave of a small child. That was the first of many instances where I have ran across or have had intervention from the other side. Take that how you want, dirt nerds. It is Halloween. This is not a gag. This is my story. My experience with the extraterrestrial, or not extraterrestrial, with the paranormal. I've had some extraterrestrial experience too. That's something else. It's more weird crap I've seen, but Uh, Supernatural? Oh, yes, it's there. I've seen it, I've experienced it. The supernatural, the afterlife. There's something.